Hello everyone, welcome to my new video on UiPath Document Understanding, and this is mainly focused on handwritten documents. So, if you might have seen the previous videos, there was one video that actually talks about handwritten data extraction, and that is mainly around intelligent form extractor. But in this video, what we are going to show is something that UiPath has introduced in their recent release 22.4. So now handwritten data processing is not just limited to intelligent form extractor. Now you can process handwritten data across the document understanding framework, starting from digitizing, classifying, extraction, and also validation. So this is one of the most important features that they released. And along with that, there are a couple of other updates. So before getting to the handwritten data extraction, let's quickly have a look at the new updates that we have on the document understand. Okay, so in this document, you can see some of the recent updates that they have released in the 22.4 release. So let's have a look. The first one is consume form AI extraction models. So this is a totally separate topic, a forms AI that UiPath has introduced to extract data from structured documents without you really spending a lot of time to create a template. It will do that for you through forms AI. So we'll look at that in a separate video. And we'll until that we'll move to the next topic because we are mainly focusing on handwritten stuff. And the next one is around detecting handwritten data using UiPath Document OCR. So this is the most important thing. So earlier, it was only possible in the intelligent keyword classifier. But now, because the UiPath Document OCR supports handwritten data, now you can use it throughout your document understanding framework. And along with that, intelligent keyword classifier is going to be deprecated soon. So the form extractor, which we used earlier only for digital or computer generated documents, now it has been improved to recognize handwritten data and also signatures so that even though the intelligent keyword intelligent form extractor is removed, we can still use all the functions that it had. And there are some improvements on the digitization algorithms. And along with that, we also have specific features on the OCR itself. Like we can select whether we want to use the OCR all the time or whether letting the framework decide whether to use it or not. And there are some enhancements in the validation session and classification session to improve the accessibility on certain things. So we will also have a look at those stuff. And lastly, the machine learning extractor and the machine learning classifiers, those are also improved to work with handwritten data. So we'll have a look at those stuff as well. And now we'll go to the workflow just to see how this thing works. So I have actually created two separate workflows here just to show how we can work with the handwritten data. So this is very much similar to what we usually do. There's no much of a difference because everything is done and given to us by the OCR engine itself. So our workflow remains the same. So what I want to show you is, even though it's handwritten data, how to use it for classification and data extraction. So I have a few sample documents that I downloaded, and you can also try downloading these sample documents for your document understanding related things. So this is one place that I found. And this has a lot of documents that you can actually try and download. So you can see so many different types of documents, including handwritten documents. This would be a good place to get some good samples. I'll share the link in the document, the video description, so you can have a look at that as well. So from here, I actually downloaded few documents, which I'm going to show you now. This is one document which I downloaded. So this is one. So you can see it is it's being it's filled with it's written to fill the document, and here also you can see some handwritten stuff. And the other document is actually a letter kind of, and the handwriting is not very much clear, but let's see how this thing works. And this is also another document. So we have three samples to have a look. That being said, I actually did a simple categorization on these. So let me take you through the flow. And I'm using the latest dependencies on document understanding ML activities and intelligent OCR and the OCR activities. So I'm using the latest version. Okay, that being said, let's quickly have a look at the taxonomy manager. So here I have actually created three different types of documents. One for the progress report that we saw. I will show you again. So this is the progress report because you see it here. And in the progress report, I'm thinking of extracting these three: sender, receiver, and that table. And when it comes to status, I just created some dummy types so that we can see how it classifies. The status is more like this document because I see the word status here. And the other one is this, using this A7F. Not sure what those things are, but the idea here is just to see how we can use the handwritten data to extract some information. Okay, so, and in this, I'm just extracting one simple field. Cool. So we have the taxonomy, and in case you're not familiar with how to create these things, it's easy. You can, once you open it, you will be in a screen like this. You just need to create a group first, and that group is actually shown here. And under each group, you can have different document types that you need to create. And in the under that, you can have all the document types. It's like that. And then you can create your own fields. Let's say for this one, you need to create a field. You can add it from here. Okay, so that is the first part. And in case you are not familiar with the framework again, I actually do recommend you to go through the UiPath Academy, uh, the course on document understanding. That will give you a very good understanding around what are these activities and how each and everything links together. And also you can have a look at my video series on document understanding in my channel. Okay, so now I have all those three documents in a specific folder. And here I'm loading the taxonomy and I'm looping through each file in that folder. What I'm doing here is I'm doing the digitization, and here you can see that additional property, whether to apply OCR or not. So by default, it is set to auto. So you can keep it as it is. And I'm using the UiPath Document OCR. So in this, the endpoint is this one. And you can get the API key from your cloud platform. You can go into admin and under that licenses. And from there, you can get the API key. So we do the digitizing using UiPath Document OCR because that supports handwriting. And then we do the classification document scope. So this is pretty much the same as before. There's nothing different. And I'm using a keyword based classifier. So what I will do is I just ran some test runs before this. So let me go into this folder, document processing keyword classifier. Yeah. So you can see I have given some things here. What I will do is I will just delete everything so that it does not have any keywords that we have mentioned. So we can train it from scratch. And under configure, I have enabled it for all three. And here we have the present classification station. And lastly, we have the train classifier scope using the same thing, the keyword based classifier trainer to train it for all three types. So since we don't have any training given now, we'll just run it and see how we can use the handwritten data to train our keyword based classifier. Let's give it a try. So it will take a while. Okay, so it's running. And we have the first classification station over here. So as I mentioned earlier, since we don't have any training data, it is not classifying it into any type. So what we are going to do here is we are going to give the keywords on this handwriting. So before giving the keywords, let's zoom it in a little bit. So you can see all this handwritten data is actually being recognized except for few. And we can actually see the text version of this from here. And you can see the text. Along with that, we also have a couple of new features. One is we can actually search. This was not there before. So if you know a word that you would like to see, you can search and it will highlight, as you see here. Uh, yeah. So it highlights the word status. So that's also a nice feature that we have. And in addition to that, we have these features were there before. And you have a menu option to show the keyboard shortcuts, switch panel sides, you can switch between these sides. And we also have an option to rotate the page. Okay, so for this one, we'll give the keyword. So what we can do is just like any other document, there's no difference, just highlight it and add reference. You give the keyword and let's add this to our status and set. So everything is the same. There's no difference. It's all done by the OCR itself. And This is the other document. So we'll use this one. And let me quickly show you the text version so you can see A7M. You can highlight the words from here as well. What you can do is go to token mode and just highlight it uh, and add reference and say A7M and save. And the last document, here we have it. For this one, instead of any handwriting, I will just highlight the normal printed text. So you can see it works for both. And this is a progress report and save. So we did the initial training. And next time if I run this, it should automatically identify that. So let's do a quick run and see. And here we have it. So here you can see it has identified it has status with 63% confidence. And if you actually highlight the reference, it has the proper one. So you can see it's just like any other document now. You can even work on handwritten data. But there is always a challenge with handwritten data because we can write in many different ways. So there's always there's always room for errors. So you need to be careful with those things. And this is also correct. Correct. So that part is done. So you get the idea. And now let's quickly have a look on how to use the form extractor to actually extract data from this document. So I have actually created the template. So I'll show you how it works. So this is again correct. So let me just quickly click on save. Okay, so let's get to the other workflow. So this is the same workflow. I just took a copy and I just added few additional activities to do the extraction. So earlier it stops at present classification station and then the training. But here I have a few things in addition just to do the data extraction using the form extractor. So earlier we had the intelligent form extractor for handwritten data as I explained before. We still have it. If I show you, we still have it, but um, it will be removed soon. So it's always good to use the form extractor instead of the intelligent form extractor. Okay, so here we have the form extractor. All you need to do is just go to manage templates. I already have one created. I will show you that one. And I will also show you how to create a new one. So here we have selected progress report, and these are some keywords that we have given. And these are the areas that we are going to extract the values from. And here is the table. So let me show you quickly how to create this. So I will not do any changes here. Okay, so let's quickly create one. All you need to do is just click on create template, select the document type and the template name. And for the OCR engine, you need to select the UiPath Document OCR because that's the one that supports handwritten data in our case. The endpoint is this, the API key. You need to get it the from the cloud platform. If you are using the community version, you need to go to admin and licenses, and from here you can copy it. Okay, so API key and configure. Oh, we need to select the document. And let me take this path. Okay, so here we are in the form designer, and here we have all the fields that we are going to extract. So the first thing is we need to provide some matching info, some unique keywords to identify this. So let me just add some of these printed text. It's always good to use printed text for this one because those things will not change. The handwritten things may change. And for the sender is this guy. We just need to highlight and custom area and add it over here. So it's easy. Same goes for this custom area, receiver. And lastly, the table. We just need to click on this one. Just drag this down a bit. So first we need to define the table. For that, you can click here, click on extract table and draw the table like this. And we just need to define the two columns. So the first one is account name and the second one is store count. So these are defined in the taxonomy. And then we just need to define the rows. So as you see, when my mouse cursor moves across, it identifies whether I'm looking for a column or a row. Very easy. So you just need to include in the header. Just click on the places where you need to separate. Okay, so that is good for now. And you can say extract header and save. And here you have your new table. If you click on the first row, it identifies the first row here. That gives you the structure. We have defined that, and here we have two options. One, use confidence levels for guidance only. Do not rely on exclusively on them for detecting extraction errors. So that is true. So once you do the extraction, as you might have seen if you have followed the document understanding series or the course in the UiPath Academy, once you do the extraction, it always gives you a confidence level. And using that confidence level, we need to write our own logic to figure out whether it is the value is extracted properly or not. So, all right. Okay, so let's save that and save it again. and we have the template here, the demo. Okay, so we have done that. Oh, I also want to show you one thing. In here, in the in any of these things, you can actually um, look for signature fields. If there are any, you can select that. Okay, and then just configure the extractor and use it for the document type that you are using. So we have this here. So we'll just run it and see how it works. So once you do that extraction, you are presenting it in the validation station. And here you have the trained classifiers code, just like before. So I'm not using any validation logic here because the idea here is just to show you how this thing works. So in reality, you need to write your own logic to verify the extracted data is valid or not. And the other thing is for data sets, if you have machine learning models, you can actually push that data into the AI center directly. So that is a different topic. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so first we'll just quickly run it and see. And before running it, let me just remove the other two documents so that we only focus on the one that we create. This is only the first one. So this is for template based extraction. So similarly, just like using the template here, for the extraction, you can use any other extractor to extract the data. Even if you want to combine this is the classification station. Even if you want to combine form extractor along with regex, basically you can still do that because you already have the digital version of this the document. Like you get this string. So here we see the extraction. So we have the names here. Looks pretty much accurate. And then here we have the other one with some good confidence levels. And when it comes to the line items, it's a bit low. Yeah, so that's the reason. So some of these things are not extracted. Um, so this can happen with handwritten data because it may not work as expected all the time. Handwriting can be different. So So based on what we have, we can see whatever the things that got extracted is very much accurate. That's good. So when it comes to handwritten data, always make sure that you will always need to have some level of manual intervention to validate the data because it is handwritten and we can write in many different ways. So just to show you, in case you want to use any regex on this, you just need to look for the text version. From here, go to the text only view. And from here, you can actually see the text and even the handwritten stuff in clear text. So using this, you can actually write your own regex in the regex extractor simply to extract these things. So you can, let's say we don't have the form extractor. You can use the regex to look for this and extract whatever comes after that. So it's just like any other document or, or any other different scenario that we are going to use it on. Think of it as a string and you can use it on any regex that you like to use. Okay, so this is how we do the handwritten data extraction. So and also before clicking on save, here also I would like to show you, you can still do the search. Let's say this is identified. Let me search for any handwritten thing. Let's search for the name. So that is also getting highlighted. So, so this will give you a good level of flexibility in searching these documents. When it comes to large documents, this is very much helpful. Okay, so that is given. Yeah, so here you can see the two options. The extraction has given you this confidence, but when it comes to OCR, um, the OCR has given you 37% confidence for the document type, but here it is 100%. And for the sender, the OCR did not give any confidence, but for the receiver, it has. But when it comes to the extraction, it is giving you a good confidence. So earlier, this option was not there. We could only see these two options in the once we put it into the once you actually export the data into Excel. We were having an option to add these two in the export activity. But now here in the validation station itself, you can see the two options and the confidence level. This will actually help in building your own logic. All right. So that's how you do the validation. And lastly, now I want to show you how this thing works on machine learning extractors. So I'm not going to train any model now because I also don't have that kind of documents. So what I will do is I will just use the same document that we have here, and I will show you how it works on the data manager where we train the document. So let's quickly go into AI Center. So in AI Center, we have the data labeling session that we use to label the data in the document. So we can create a new project. I will just say demo. And here I will just go to data labeling and create a new document understanding labeling session. Um, and since I do not have any data set created, I can create a new data set here itself. So this data set will hold the data that we are training. And once you have done the training, once you export it from the data manager, all that data will get saved in this data set. So this data set will get created in this section. You can also make this data set public if needed, so that the workflow can actually directly connect with the data set and update the data set through a URL, so that you don't need to select the project or any data set by name. You will have a URL to do that. So let me show you that as well. Make this data set public. Create. And in the data sets here you have the data set, and here is the endpoint. This is what you are going to use in the train activity to upload the data. So we'll look at that a little later. We'll go to the data labeling session. It is available. Go in here. And so here we have the data manager. And since we are using this document, So this can be any kind of document. It could be a handwritten invoice. It could be computer generated invoice. It could be a mixture of everything. So if you are using the proper OCR, it will support all kind of things, irrespective of whether it's handwritten or computer generated. So let's not create do a lot of things because we have already done the template creations before. So I will just show you how to get the name and one column from here. And if you are again not familiar with document the data manager, go through the course that I have on training machine learning models. That will actually help to get an understanding about how things happen in the document manager. Okay, so let me quickly create a regular field here. Um, and, uh, and the data type is string and a simple column field. Um, let's say, what is that column name? It is called account name and string. Okay, we have two fields, and now we'll look at the OCR engine. So by default, it is pointing to the UiPath Document OCR. We don't need to do anything here. Just click on Save, and let's import some documents now. We can click on Import, give it a name like batch 1, and we only have one file. We can just add it there. So the OCR engine will do its processing so that we can do the labeling. Just click on Yes. And we have done the processing. And just like before, here also you can see all these words highlighted, including printed and including handwritten. So if I am to add this into my uh, regular fill, just highlight it and press on this shortcut key S. And here is the value. And let's try with the column. Just select the first one. Mark it as a row by pressing on the slash key. And then the shortcut A. So it extracts the value. So you can see even on data document manager, um, you can, irrespective of whether it's handwritten or computer generated, you can now do the data labeling and training and use it for any document understanding ML model. It could be an invoice model, it could be a generic document understanding model, it could be anything. You can use this on any DU model to train it and use it in your workflow, just like a normal scenario. So nothing extra. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. And let me quickly go back to the data sets here. And here you have the endpoint and the API key for this data set. So how to use that? Let me show you. So just like the train classifier scope, we will also have train extractor scope. Here you have it. Just place it here and In here, we need to use the machine learning extractor trainer because we have the data set in AI Center used for ML. So I'm going to search for that machine learning extractor trainer. And here it is asking for the endpoint, the ML server, the ML skill. Right now, we don't have a skill. So I cannot use this thing. So I'll just click on cancel. But in here, you can see the two options, the dataset endpoint and the API key. So this is where you can use those two options to push the data that you validate and use it for training. So that basically covers the uh, topics that we wanted to talk about in this video, mainly around handwritten data. And in addition to that, we also covered few things that are additional in the new release. So I hope this is helpful for you to go through the new features that we have in the document understanding solution. And if there's anything, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm always here to help. And in the meantime, enjoy your day and we'll see you in another video.